Good everybody, Chris Farhi here, Bayleys Insights and Data team. We've got Ankur Dakwale talking about the biggest news in New Zealand real estate. So Ankur, what have we got this week?
Yes, we've got the government's 100-day plan we're going to chat about. We've got data from homes for sale by realestate.co.nz. We've got sales snapshot of commercial auctions. We've got content from our global partner, Knight Frank, and of course, for the property of the week.
Yeah, nice little lineup, eh? And so number one this week, the government released their 100-day plan. And so this has a pretty wide spectrum of all sorts of stuff that they want to do over the next 100 days. But within that, a bit of stuff for property. And so, Ankur, what are some of the items that we picked out in that mix?
Yes, there's about 49 items overall, but the ones that are relevant to property is making medium density residential standards optional for councils, introducing a fast track consenting regime, stop central government work on the Auckland light rail, and amend the Overseas Investment Act to make it easier to develop build to rent projects.
Yeah, so quite cool. I think particularly the one that's interesting in there is that medium density residential standards, which, if I remember, like when I started with Bayleys like 2 years ago, that was like the topic of the day. And so kind of funny, well not funny, but interesting to see it get unwound at this point, or at least optional for councils. Yeah. And so then number two, we've got the latest data on homes for sale via realestate.co.nz. And so these were the stats as at the end of November. And so what are we seeing at?
Yeah, so we're at about 28,014 properties total for sale. That's just slightly down on the same time last year. We're at 10,712 new listings, and it's slightly higher than the same time last year. But overall, there's been a massive variation depending on which region you look at in the country.
Yeah, 100%. Like if you actually get into the detail on that one, you'll see there's some regions that have much tighter supply than last year, others that have more on market. And I think we're going to see that for probably at least the next 12 to 18 months, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, good to have that data though. And then number three, we've got a project up in Auckland, which to be fair is one of, I'd say, the biggest projects in Auckland at the moment. And so this is Kāinga Ora's Roskill South development. And so, Ankur, what was the announcements here?
This is one of the 18 neighborhoods in the 162 hectare Roskill development. The civil works of this has now been completed. We've got so far 350 homes are now completed as well out of 970 total planned homes. And the development has a mix of public and private housing on there. I'm an ex-Roskill grammar school boy, and I've seen that area completely change over the last 6 or 7 years now.
Yeah, it's quite massive, the transformation, particularly when you add in Goodman's industrial estate on the old foodstuffs distribution centre. So worth a little roadie over the holiday if you're into that sort of thing. So next up, we've got our sales snapshot. And so, Ankur, what are we snapshotting this week?
Yeah, so we've got the Bayleys Commercial recent auction stats. So this is a snapshot of commercial properties around the country.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, first up, we have one in Albany.
Yep, yeah, cool. So we got A12/16 Saturn place in Albany. So perfectly renovated mixed use live work unit, 156 square metre mixed warehouse and office, plus a 2-bedroom apartment, vacant possession, marketed by Ian Wadhams and Richard Moores from Bayleys North Shore Commercial. This sold for $750,000, or about 4,800 square metre on floor area.
Next up, we have 13 to 15 Gear Street in Lower Hutt in Wellington. Now this is one to get geared up for. 2 warehouses, mezzanine and amenities, totaling 752 square meters, part vacant and part leased. And this sold for $2.2 million, or an estimated yield of 6.64%, or a $2,925 per square meter on the floor area.
Yeah, there's a cute little title on that one, one to get geared up for. And then finally, we've got 2 Stoneleigh Drive in Rolleston and Christchurch. And so this is a high quality industrial investment, just under 1,300 square metres industrial facility on 5,100 square metres of land, located in the iZone Business Park, marketed by Nico Stike from Bayleys Christchurch. This one sold for $3.45 million, about 5.8% yield, or $2,664 a square metre on floor area. So a good little collection of sales there. And if you wanted to learn more about those sales or other recent sales, then jump on to Bayleys Total Property, chuck that into Google, or reach out to your preferred agent. Next up, going offshore, our global partner Knight Frank released their latest global prime residential forecast for 2024. And so, Ankur, what have we got in this one?
Yeah, so this report forecast price growth for 25 major cities around the world. Now, we had Auckland, Sydney, and Dubai having the highest forecasts for 2024. The major themes and opportunities that picked up is a relaxation on tax and property regulations, and a new start of property cycles around the world as well. The biggest risks they picked up as well are the interest rate risks, upcoming elections, and higher taxes.
Yeah, and within that release, so they actually talked a little bit about the New Zealand elections and the impacts of that. Yeah, so quite an interesting theme to pick out around those changing governments, and there's quite a few major elections that are happening next year which could disrupt some of the markets.
Yep.
Then finally, to wrap up, we've got our property of the week. So Ankur, what have you got for us this week?
Yeah, so I've got a real cool property. This was coined Waterfront Wonderland. 5 bedrooms, 6 bathrooms on 6,450 square meters. Absolute waterfront. Outstanding north-facing views of Parakura Bay. So if you want to learn more about this, please get in touch with Irene Bremner from Bayleys Bay of Islands.
Yeah, and then for me, I've got D'Urville Island and Catherine Cove in the Marlborough Sounds. And so this is Island Paradise Waterfront Native Elegance. It's got 15 bedrooms, 8 bathrooms on 168 hectares. Exclusive waterfront property, home and income with cottages, batches, and a classic Kiwi home. If you want to learn more about this one, contact Dylan Monopoly or Will Porter from Bayleys Nelson / Bayleys Marlborough. With that said, we'll wrap this up here. So thanks very much, Ankur.
Thanks, Chris.
And we'll see you next time.
See ya.